Ladies and gentlemen, there's a secret, simple in words but profound in power. It is this: learn to act as if nothing bothers you, not because you are blind to challenge, but because you are master of self. The world does not yield its rewards to those who flinch. It yields to those who stand firm, calm, and composed, especially when the storm rages. Today, I give you 6 keynotes to help you develop this mindset. Not a mask of indifference, but a force of inner command. Emotion is a choice. That truth alone separates the strong from the weak. Most people spend their lives being ruled by how they feel, tossed about by anger, jealousy, fear, or frustration, as if these forces are in control and they are merely passengers. But that is the great lie. The person who rises above average living knows one secret that changes everything. You are not your emotions. You are the commander of them. When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, it is not because you are disconnected or indifferent. It is because you have stepped into your rightful position as master of your own mind. Understand this: nothing outside of you has the power to disturb your peace unless you give it permission. A rude comment, a financial setback, a betrayal, none of these has a mind of its own. They do not walk into your spirit and cause disruption. It is you who interprets them, you who reacts, you who decides whether to be rattled or composed. That means the battlefield is not out there in the world, it's in here, in the mind. And if you win that battle, the world itself becomes more manageable, more obedient to your purpose. Think of the most powerful leaders, the great creators, the visionaries who shaped industries and built empires. Do you think they were never insulted, never betrayed, never knocked down? Of course they were. But the difference between them and the ordinary man is that they learned to feel and yet not be ruled by feeling. They had emotion, but emotion never had them. They understood that anger can be a spark, but if left unchecked, it becomes a wildfire that burns down everything you've built. It can alert you to danger, but if you let it drive your decisions, it will rob you of every opportunity. You must make a decision, and it is a decision, to be the master of your state. Every time something tries to provoke you, see it for what it is: a test, a challenge, a moment to step into your greater self. Do not flinch. Do not fold. Practice the art of stillness. The mind that remains calm under pressure is not weak, it is lethal. It sees clearly. It speaks with purpose. It moves with power. People cannot manipulate what they cannot provoke. And when you train yourself to act as if nothing bothers you, you make yourself immune to the control. You might say, but I can't help how I feel. And I say to you, you can help what you do with what you feel. You can take the raw material of emotion and forge it into action, discipline, and progress. That is what great minds do. They do not deny their emotions, they transmute them. They feel anger and turn it into drive. They feel fear and turn it into depth. They feel fear and turn it into strategy. That is the alchemy of the successful. Every day you have a chance to choose who you are. Are you a leaf, swayed by every gust of emotion, or are you the tree, rooted, unmoved, standing tall, no matter the wind? Train your mind like a soldier. Choose your emotional state the way a warrior chooses his armor. And remember, the man who commands his inner world commands the outer one too. Act as if nothing bothers you, not to fool the world, but to prove to yourself that you are no longer easily shaken. That is strength. That is leadership, and that is freedom. The difference between a life of power and a life of chaos can be found in a single decision: to respond instead of react. Most people are ruled by reflex. Something happens, they snap. An insult is thrown, they retaliate. A challenge arises, they panic. This is how the average person lives. Enslaved by impulse, controlled by circumstance, weak to the whim of the moment. But the person who is determined to rise, to command, to lead, they refuse to surrender their power to external forces. Instead, they pause, they evaluate, they choose their response deliberately. This is not weakness, it is supreme strength. The man who can hold his tongue when others provoke him has already won the argument. The woman who can slow her breathing in the face of chaos has already taken control of the room. Reaction is survival. Response is strategy. The dog reacts, the lion responds. In every difficult situation, there are two voices inside you. One screams, one thinks. One thinks, learn to silence the first and sharpen the second. When someone criticizes you unfairly, do not throw words back in rage. When things don't go as planned, do not throw your plans away in frustration. Take the blow, but take it like steel, not like glass. Because when you respond instead of react, you stay in control. You don't just preserve your dignity, you multiply your power. People trust calm. They follow composure. They respect the person who chooses their words with care and their actions with intention. Now understand this. How you carry yourself teaches others how to treat you. You are not just reacting to life, you are constantly instructing it. Every time you let someone rattle you, you teach them that you are easily shaken. Every time you lower your standards to match someone's disrespect, you give them permission to continue. But when you act as if nothing bothers you, not out of arrogance but from quiet confidence, you send a message to the world. I am not to be trifled with. You show people what is acceptable and what is not. You set the tone. You define the standard. And if you do not define it, others will define it for you. You do not need to demand respect with volume. You command it with presence. When you show up with consistency, with calm, with purpose, people learn that they must rise to your level if they want your time. And those who don't, they fall away. You do not chase them. You do not convince them. You simply remain unbothered, unmoved, and focused on your mission. That alone is more powerful than 1,000 words. The world bends to those who walk with certainty. This is why it is vital to train your reactions, not just your skills. Discipline is not just about what time you wake up or how many goals you achieve. It is about mastering how you show up emotionally. If your mind is calm, your decisions are wise. If your presence is steady, your influence grows. And if your emotions are your servant, not your master, then your success is only a matter of time. So do not be quick to anger. Do not be quick to explain. Be quick to think. Be quick to choose, and let your energy teach the world. You are not here to be pushed around by noise. You are here to lead with quiet force, and that begins the moment you choose to respond, not react, and carry yourself like someone the world should take seriously. There is a power greater than shouting, greater than arguing, greater than explaining yourself to those who have already decided not to understand you. That power is silence. Most people believe they must defend every opinion, react to every slight, and make themselves heard in every room, but the truly powerful know otherwise. They do not waste energy trying to convince small minds. They do not lower themselves to the noise of fools. They remain still not because they are weak, but because they are above the chaos. A calm presence unsettles the insecure far more than 1,000 angry words. And those who walk in silence, with purpose in their eyes and discipline in their steps, command more attention than those who scream for it. Silence is not surrender. It is strategy. It is a calculated decision to keep your power where it belongs, with you. When you do not respond to every distraction, you conserve your energy for the things that actually matter. When you do not get entangled in petty disputes, you rise above the crowd and become impossible to provoke. People will wonder what you're thinking. They will wonder what you'll do next. That uncertainty becomes power. And when you do speak on your terms, in your time, your words carry weight. They are not lost in the noise. They are heard because they are rare. Restraint builds strength. And those who master silence are feared not for their words, but for the strength they hold back. But silence alone is not enough. You must also examine what surrounds you. Your environment is not neutral. It is either lifting you up or pulling you down. The state of your surroundings reflects the state of your inner world. If you are surrounded by chaos, disorder, distractions, look within. Your mind may be cluttered with doubt, unresolved tension, or lack of clarity. Clean the room. Organize your space. Eliminate what is unnecessary. And as you do, notice the shift inside. As your external world becomes more focused, your internal world sharpens. You begin to move with greater precision. Your thoughts become more directed, your emotions more balanced. You begin to carry the energy of someone who is going somewhere, and the world responds. And once your environment reflects your strength, your calm becomes a weapon. Calm is not the absence of difficulty, it is the presence of power under pressure. In the business meeting, in the negotiation, in the crisis. Those who panic lose their leverage. Those who stay calm make the decisions. The calm mind sees patterns, it anticipates moves, it controls outcomes. And while others are paralyzed by emotion, the calm individual, this is not passive, it is dominant. It is the highest form of discipline, because anyone can act composed when life is easy. But when the fire rises, when everything is on the line, and you can still breathe deeply and think clearly, then you have stepped into a rare kind of strength that most never reach. In this state, you are unshakable. The noise outside no longer controls you. The opinions of others no longer direct you. The chaos around you no longer enters you. Because your calm is not a moment, it is a mindset. A trained, practiced, intentional choice, and that calm becomes your advantage. While others burn out, you endure. While others react, you lead. While others fight for control, you simply assume it. So speak less, command more, sharpen your environment, protect your peace, and walk into every room with a calm so deep it silences everything around you. That is not just confidence, that is control, that is power, and that is how the unbothered rise. In a world that is constantly trying to get a reaction out of you, your power lies in your refusal to be moved. Most people live on impulse. Someone insults them, they react. Things don't go their way, they complain. A door closes, they panic. But the individual who is destined for greatness trains themselves to do the opposite. They don't move with emotion, they move with intention. And this is not about pretending, nor is it about holding in anger. It is about being strategic. It is about knowing that the moment you allow the outside world to control your inner state, you've handed over the most valuable thing you possess, your power to choose your response. A calm mind is a weapon. It sees what others miss. It chooses its timing. It doesn't flinch at the first sign of trouble. When others are losing control, the calm individual is making decisions. When others are speaking just to be heard, the calm individual is quiet, watching, calculating. That silence is not emptiness. It is loaded with strength. It unsettles the insecure. It commands respect. People don't fear the loudest voice in the room. They fear the quietest one, the one who doesn't need to speak to be felt. That kind of presence can only come from discipline. You must train yourself to stop feeding every fire, to stop chasing every argument, to stop explaining yourself to people who have already chosen not to understand you. The one who needs to be loud is trying to convince the world they matter. The one who is quiet already knows they do. And as you develop this discipline within, you will start to notice something else. People begin to treat you differently because the way you carry yourself teaches the world how to deal with you. Every time you tolerate disrespect, every time you stoop to someone else's level, every time you react out of insecurity, you reinforce to others that your emotions are up for grabs. But when you act as if nothing bothers you, when you remain composed, no matter the tone, no matter the pressure, you broadcast something different. You communicate that you are not here to be moved by moods, but to move with purpose. You show others that access to your peace is not free, and as a result, people either rise to meet your standard or they disappear from your path. Either way, you win. In today's world, calm is a rare trait. That makes it an edge. That makes it valuable. When everyone else is distracted, you're focused. When they panic, you plan. When they argue, you execute. You don't get pulled into their energy, you pull them into yours. This is how influence is built. Not through noise, but through presence. Not through demand, but through command. And that command is cultivated through your refusal to let the external dictate your internal. Control yourself first, and the rest begins to follow. So from this moment forward, do not give away your power so cheaply. Protect it, refine it, guard your energy like the valuable resource it is. Speak when you need to, not when you feel like it. Act when it's time, not when you're triggered. And walk with a calm that speaks for you long before your words ever do. That is the beginning of true control. That is the mark of the unbothered, and that is the kind of strength this world cannot touch. Most people go through life reacting. They wake up already behind, already emotional, already ruled by things they cannot control. They are pushed and pulled by the moods of others, the tone of a message, the traffic, the weather, the news. Their day isn't lived, it's absorbed. But the moment you realize that emotion is a choice, you begin to shift the game in your favor. You are not anger, you are not fear, you are not anxiety. Those are experiences. You are the one who decides what to do with them. The strongest people in the world don't feel less. They simply don't hand over control to what they feel. They choose clarity over chaos. They choose purpose over panic. And that choice becomes their power. Every time something happens to you, you are given a moment, brief but powerful, to decide how you'll respond. Most people miss that moment. They fire back, they complain, they explode. But the person who has trained their mind sees the space between stimulus and action. They see the opportunity to respond instead of react. Reaction is instinctual, emotional, messy. Response is intentional, measured, effective. One is survival, the other is strategy, and strategy wins. In every conversation, in every negotiation, in every setback, the person who can remain calm has already gained the upper hand. Because when you don't react to noise, you can hear the signal. When you don't flinch under pressure, you can move with precision. But it doesn't end there. Once you begin to choose your emotional state and respond with intention, something else begins to happen. People start to treat you differently. Whether you know it or not, you are teaching the world how to engage with you. You do it not with words, but with your reactions. If you are easily offended, people will use offense to control you. If you lose your temper, people will trigger you when they need to take you off your game. But when you remain unbothered, composed, and emotionally untouchable, the people around you shift. They raise their tone or they fall silent. They either match your strength or remove themselves entirely. Either way, you gain clarity, and clarity is another form of power. Silence, too, is not just the absence of words. It is a declaration. When you do not explain, when you do not engage, when you do not justify, you are not surrendering. You are conserving. You are choosing to hold your power instead of wasting it on minds that aren't ready to receive it. Let others talk. Let them guess what you're thinking. Let them lose energy trying to provoke a response you never give. In his ear, much scarcer than John was taught about that. Your stillness is your strength. The most dangerous person in the room is not the one making noise. It's the one who doesn't need to. And in all of this, your calm becomes your edge. In a world that is constantly reacting, constantly overwhelmed, constantly desperate to be seen and heard, your calm becomes magnetic. It draws people in, it creates trust, it creates space for leadership. Because calm is not passive, it is commanding. It says, I know who I am, I know what I'm doing, I do not rush, I do not flinch. I move when it's time, and when I move, it's deliberate. So you must decide. Will you live like the majority, reactive and ruled by every emotion? Or will you train yourself to be composed, intentional, calm? When you act as if nothing bothers you, it's not because you're numb, it's because you've taken full command of yourself. And once you master that, there's very little left in this world that can master you. There comes a time in every person's life when they must decide who's really in control, the world around them or the mind within them. Most drift through life never asking that question. They wake up and immediately hand over their power to the outside, to other people's opinions, to unexpected problems, to temporary emotions. But the few who rise, those who lead, who influence, who build legacies, they live by a different truth. Infinity, they understand that emotion is a choice. You are not helpless in the face of anger, fear, frustration, or doubt. Those are signals, not commands. The mind that rules emotion rules behavior. And the one who rules behavior rules their results, their destiny, their entire life. That mastery begins with restraint. When something goes wrong, do you react or do you respond? The undisciplined react. The reactive mind is a slave to the moment, lashing out, complaining, collapsing. But the mind trained in composure pauses. It considers. It selects its next move. Responding instead of reacting is what separates noise from influence, chaos from clarity. Every challenge you face offers you a chance to prove your discipline or lose it. When you learn to hold your response, you hold your power. Because power is never loud, it's precise. And the way you choose to carry yourself in those moments when life squeezes you is how you teach the world to treat you. People don't just respond to what you say, they respond to what you tolerate. Every time you allow someone to shake your peace, you teach them they can control you. But when you carry yourself with unshakable calm, with quiet strength, you set a standard. Others either rise to meet it or fall away from it. That is how self-respect becomes public respect. That is how energy becomes reputation. And your reputation will either open doors or close them, long before you speak. Silence becomes your sharpest tool. In a world addicted to reaction, addicted to attention, addicted to noise, silence is rare. What is rare is valuable. You don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. Let people talk. Let them wonder. Let them try to provoke a response that never comes. The person who doesn't flinch, doesn't argue, doesn't justify is the person who owns the room. Because silence suggests depth. It suggests certainty. And people are drawn to what they cannot read. That control, however, is not built in the moment of crisis. It's built in the quiet hours, in the environment you shape around yourself. Your surroundings reflect your standards. If your room, your mind, your circle are cluttered, so will your life be. Your environment is a mirror. If you allow negativity, distraction, chaos to live around you, it will eventually live in you. But when you begin to demand order, clarity, and purpose in your outer world, your inner world begins to sharpen. You start to move with a sense of rhythm, with momentum. The energy you allow is the energy you become. And when you build yourself like this, disciplined in emotion, intentional in response, commanding in presence, clear in space, then your calm becomes something no one can buy or imitate. It becomes your competitive edge. Others burn out. You last. Others overreact. You calculate. Others need to be seen. You are already felt. Calm isn't weakness, it's maturity. It's a sign that you've stopped playing games with your power. You've stopped giving it away for free. And now you're ready to build, lead, and dominate in silence. Because when you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, it's not about faking it. It's about finally realizing nothing truly does, not anymore. So I ask you, will you be like the leaf, blown by every wind of opinion, or the mountain unmoved by the storm? Learn to act as if nothing bothers you, not because you are numb, but because you are unbreakable. And remember, the world watches not just what you do, but how you carry yourself when pressure is high. Walk with the posture of power, speak with the tone of calm, and decide today you are untouchable. Thank you.